Sam's, let's go.
Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're watching the GSL Talk Show. Tonight, we're going to be chatting with Queen Amelia, and she has a lot of great things going on, so stay tuned.
It's a miracle, baby. Shot chill. Miracle Sam's, let's go. Yeah. It's a miracle, baby. Shot chill. Miracle Sam's, let's go.
That I'm not the type of girl that goes.
Yeah. It's a miracle, baby. Shot
Wishing I would have a one night affair.
Welcome back to the GSL Talk Show. I'm here with the lovely Miss Queen Amelia. How you doing?
I am good. How about you?
I'm good. It's so good to see you again.
Yes, look, twice in 1 week.
Yes. But right on time, right? Right on time.
Yes.
Can you tell us where you're from and a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so I'm originally from Savannah, Georgia. Right now I reside in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm just Amelia. I have a ministry that God gifted me in 2020 called Queens with Ambition. I also have a talk show that He gifted me in 2021. And I have some other endeavors that I'm trying to dabble in. Just trying to see which way God wants me to go with it. So, I'm just a girl trying to do what God called her to do.
Well, amen, Sister Lou. We got a lot of things in common then. I mean, now look, with the moniker, as they say, if I'm using the word right, Queen, I mean, now we know you're just not just Amelia, right? We might get into that a little more, later and stuff. But Georgia girl, okay, Georgia peach, because look, we might as well be neighbors. I mean, I'm in Georgia too.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I was born in the Jackson area, that's over there near Macon and all that type of stuff, and Griffin, in that little bubble and whatnot. But I'm more in the Atlanta area now. But okay, girl.
Okay.
Still
not too far away from each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I know that you blessed me with the opportunity, look, a couple of times now to come visit your lovely platform. So that's amazing. I want you to definitely share more about that. You already kind of gave us a little sneak peek. And I love that you said that the Lord blessed you with these things. I feel the same way about GSL and everything that I have going on. So, I mean, yeah, look, tell us how you became Queen Amelia, right? And then tell us about these platforms that the Lord blessed you with.
I'm sorry. Okay, so Queen Amelia came from when God blessed me with Queens with Ambition. So if I am going to, oh my goodness, I'm sorry. If I am going to go after his daughters who are queens, and help them come back to him the way that he, needs them to come so he can do what he has to do on them, because, he does the drawing, and we do the witnessing and he does the rest. So how does it go? We do the planting and then he does the watering. Let me say it that way. So I have to be the example to them, so they can see that how can God tell you that I'm this and I'm that, but you're not. So he dubbed me queen to go out and help his other queens to open their eyes to see that you are the queen that God has called you to be. Yeah.
Well, that's so powerful all by itself and so needed, man. So needed in these days and times. I know actually several ladies have been on the platform. We talked about it over and over again, how it seems like there's this gap between the the matriarchs that we have, right? And then I guess our generation and especially the ones after us, like I don't know if the ones younger than us don't value again the matriarchs, or maybe the matriarchs ain't stepping up and really training the way
Yeah,
they
that's what
should
it is.
be
That's
and
what.
stuff like that. And then we're in the
Yes,
middle, like, oh, I guess we got to do it since they not doing it. You know what I mean?
yes.
So I mean, I don't know how old you are, but it seems like we might be in the same age range. And so I don't know. Do you would you say you're witnessing that as well, or is it is just
Yeah,
me?
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It seems as though, yes, it's somewhere down the line we have lost focus on raising kids and raising them the way that they should be raised. Like these young ladies these days, like they are all over the place. It's like they don't have no respect for themselves. They
Mm-hmm.
don't have no respect for others.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so we look back to, because I'm in my 40s, so
Okay.
yeah, so we
Yeah, I'm a
back
couple
around
of
the
years
same.
away. We're
Okay,
right around.
yes, yeah. So when I was growing up, it was things that's going on now was still going on, but they had more respect with it.
Mm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
they was out there doing their thing, messing with this guy and that guy and this guy, but it was meet me around the corner, don't tell nobody type of
Mm.
thing. And
Mm.
then now it's just like, hey, pick me up in front of my house, and when he dropped me off, hey, you come pick me up too. Like
Mm.
it's just all over the place, and I see it, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I can't even explain it. Like it bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
It bothers me to see the way the generation is going. My children are in this generation,
Mm-hmm.
and um I was like, no, 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 no. You will
Mm-hmm.
not go the way this world is going. You will
Mm-hmm.
not, because um, as cliche as it sounds, but I'm not gonna say it till I can't say it no more. As of me and my house, we shall serve the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
God said that they have their own, their own path that they have to take.
Mm-hmm.
But I raised them up. But you know what? With my kids, before I started raising them up in the way that it should go, my kids actually started going to church before I did.
Mm.
My son actually started going to church. Like the community that we stayed in, it was a pastor that came around and took the kids to church. And
Nice.
so my son started going with him, and then my daughter started going along with him. And that actually what brought me back to the Lord, because I
Mm.
actually got saved when I was 19, but of course, with not the proper guidance and not the proper leadership, I strayed
Mm-hmm.
away.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and that actually, my son actually is what got me back to the Lord.
Mm.
So, so yeah.
Man, that what a beautiful testimony that is, man. I know
Yeah.
that I was speaking to someone at my church yesterday that was saying the same type of thing about how much power it is from one to one. And I know people are like, we think about followers and platforms and subscribers, and we think about like the masses, right? But
Yes.
there's still so much power in the one to one. Like you said, it was your
Yes.
son that ultimately led to two more people, you and your daughter, and whoever else that he had in his circle of influence.
Right.
The young lady I was speaking to yesterday was talking about how someone invited her, and she's already invited a couple of people, and just that one invitation led to however many. I think she said maybe
Mm-hmm.
like 6 people or something like that. And so
Mm-hmm.
again, I mean, this word discipleship is one that really really needs to be, I think, done in this season. I think again what you're saying that you're doing with Queen's Ambition and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
being a queen to call fellow queens and things like that. I mean, I know there's some younger ladies and stuff that I know, and I try to do the same thing in regards to call them queen or call them something where it's like understanding that you don't have to be like what the world is telling us that we are, right?
That's
Especially as
right.
African American women, that's a whole nother conversation all by itself too. But we'll just
Yes.
keep it in general and say, oh, everybody. but
Right.
I mean, if you do look at our community in particular, there is a certain type of narrative being put out more so than anything about African American women, and it's sad to see. But at the same time, it's like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do about it? And I feel like the Bible is
That's
very clear with women about older women teaching the younger women to be wives and mothers. I mean, and I hate to say it this way, but I feel like the other biblical things are playing out where the women are reaching for the roles of the man, and then they're dropping the ball into what we really need, and then now here we come up like, and not to be like, now, it seems like I had some home training. It seems like you had some as well, to certain extent. So I'm not saying that, like, for example, my mother or anything like that dropped the ball, but I feel like, again, I do see the gap in between, maybe with other households, or or there is some type of gap here between what was taught to these young ladies, where today, of course, people are pushing independence, and I feel like it's kind, in a way, a toxic independence. Like, it's okay to be independent and make sure you can do for yourself, stuff like that. That's good. But then when you pushing this narrative, like, you don't need the man, and all this different type of stuff, it's just like, like, it's enough between us already. Like, we don't need to keep doing this thing where we're not coming together and uplifting marriage, uplifting family, uplifting the things that God put in place and stuff like that. And I know it's not, I guess, an easy thing for everybody, and everybody doesn't have that, I don't know what you say, like, obviously, choices and whatnot matter, and so maybe everybody's not in a position to be the nuclear family as the Bible suggests and whatnot. But I mean, again, I feel like when we're talking about narratives, or if we talk about, again, what's being pushed to us, pushed down our throat in media, music, all these different type of things, it is this separation that's being pushed, and we know that that's antichrist. I mean, we should know, right? Like, I mean,
absolutely.
But anyway, I don't know, girl. We
hey, let me piggyback on what you said about the, you have to look at it now, is that it starts from the house. Like, I don't care what nobody else say. It starts from what you see inside your house. But when you have your mother and to me, it's okay to be your child's friend. It's okay with me, but it has to be that boundary. Like, okay, we're friends. Like, you can come to me and you can talk to me about whatever, but the respect is still there, because at the end of the day, I am your mother. I am your mother, but you have to have that. You have to have that space and that place where your child can feel comfortable enough to come and tell you, like, hey, this is what's going on. Hey, this is how I'm feeling. Because this is why you have so many children that are in the closet, liking girls, liking boys, can't go to their parents and talk about it. They having these demons possess them and torment them, and they're losing their minds. They're going and doing stuff like shooting up these schools and shooting people and toting guns and toting knives because they're being picked on, they're being teased, which we know that is the spirits that's inside of the other kids, because what we know, that hurt people, right? So, it's just like a generational thing. So you got to have that place in your house where you're saying, okay, I am your mother, and there are rules in here that you have to stand on, but we do have that relationship to where you can come and you can talk to me about what's going on. You see do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am. I totally do. I know I talk a lot about that when I tell my testimony and whatnot, that as a child, and like, when I look back at it now, I have way more understanding now than when I was going through it. To me, when I look at it, I'm like, oh, the enemy's trying to shut me up years ago, because here I am today talking like almost every day about the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you trying to shut me up years ago with those phrases like stay in a child's place and stuff like that, which I get is very important. And I'm not saying it's not, but for someone that was like me, right? Someone that was, I ain't getting too much trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like, I learned my lesson. Okay, my mom would say, don't make me stimulate you, or stuff like that, where, you like, okay, I know that if I got the pat on the hand the other time I did something wrong, like, I was one of them people that learned kind of quick. I don't want that pat on the hand, And so for me to be like the respectful one, right, to get that I'll just be honest about it. It just felt like whenever I had wanted to share my opinion, or whenever I noticed something, or whatever the case may be, and I said something about it, it seemed like it was World War III. So it made me feel like my voice, my observations, my whatever. There's something about me that makes it like things get blown out of proportion and just get you know. But then
Yeah.
I noticed other kids, could go around slamming doors. They could go around, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, what is it about me? Like, I'm not even doing that. I'm not even attempting to do those things. You know what I'm saying? But if I look like I'm going to say something wrong, or if I look like I'm going to say anything at all, it's like, you need to shut up type things,
Right.
and I just never understood that growing up, because I'm like, what is it about me that's making it be this way for me? Now, granted, again, like I said, now looking back, I'm like, oh, the enemy may have, known that I was
Mm-hmm.
going to be out here doing this, and it's like, oh, let me use
Yes.
these people to shut her up at an early age, because that did
Yeah.
in some ways. I had to find other ways to express myself through poetry, writing, different things like that. Because which are gifts, so thank God for them. But what I'm saying
Right.
is, like you said, that open door is important. I feel like, I
Yeah.
think again, when I keep saying our generation, but like I said, we're around the same age and whatnot. And
Yeah.
so I feel like there was so much of that for our generation that maybe when it comes to us, or maybe the people that had kids younger when we were growing up, or whatever it is, they were like, we don't
Mm-hmm.
want to be like that, so we're going to be friends, like you said, with our kids and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
even with my 5-year-old, he be trying it, and I had to keep reminding him, like, look, I'm. Who do you think I am right now? Like, I am mommy. You know what I'm saying? At the end
Right.
of the day, you don't talk to me a certain way. You don't try. You don't do certain things. Like,
Absolutely.
I want you to.
Absolutely.
I want you to be able to come to me. Yeah, I want you to be able to express yourself. Stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. I'm all for that. But but at the same time, like you said, putting that boundary and barrier is important as well. So, girl, don't
Right.
get me started, because I saw something. I want to say it was this morning or maybe last night, but one of them where this lady was, I guess she had went live or whatever, and she was kind of filming her son, like she was talking to him or whatever, but he was coming up in her face and stuff, and I guess she was filming for her safety or whatever, but she's like, it's always like this with him, or X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, again, that's why I just feel like everything is just so important. What God puts in place is important. And I feel like when people come and try to break that up, you know, I mean, would that child be doing that with a man in the home, or would that child, if the father, because I know even with I see the dynamics of me having my husband and raising our son and stuff like that. And we have those moments where we come and talk to him together about stuff. We have those moments where we talk to him separately about things.
Mm-hmm.
I see that, there's might be times where he gives the, that tough love, whatever that the man needs to give to a boy, and then there's times when I have to give that, nurturing, but at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
well,
Stern.
the reason why this happened is because you know what I mean? And that,
Mm-hmm.
and just all I'm saying is that there's so much need for both that, and unfortunately, everybody's not getting that experience and whatnot. I mean, even me, I mean, I grew up, my dad passed before I was born. And so, I ended up in technically a single mom situation or whatever the case may be. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure she didn't, her husband passed, you know what I mean? So,
Right.
it can happen is what I'm saying. And it's not always nobody's fault or nothing,
Right.
um, but I just feel like there's other things out here outside of natural causes, right? Outside of like life and whatnot that is happening, where it's just pushing
Right.
these things on these generations. So it's so good again that you're out here, doing your part to, for the young ladies and whatnot. And yeah, man, I'm just saying, I say all that to say I commend you, and I thank God for you,
Yes. Thank
doing look the Lord's work for real. Because people
you.
like to say the Lord's work, but then it don't be. But anyway, that's something else.
Yeah. Look, I feel you.
Like, is that the Lord's work though?
Like, did he really tell me to do that? Mm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you said the Queen's Ambition, and then you also said the Lord has blessed you with a talk show and things like that. Now, is that the same as Queen Ambition, or is that a separate?
It's a it's underneath Queens with Ambition, but it's separate. Any and everything that I do is going to be positive. And so with Bless the Author, I just interview authors that have told their story or that has a story, um, whether it's like a devotional or what, however it goes, as long as it's positive, long as it's positive and motivating to others, I allow them to come on the show and talk about their books. And, so I look at Bless the Author in two ways. So those that are watching, it's going to motivate them and uplift them to, because we all need to hear somebody's testimony. We never know who testimony we need to hear to say, oh my gosh, I'm going through that very same thing. Or, oh my gosh, I'm going through something similar to that. And let me listen to see how she came out of this. Or let
Mm-hmm.
me see if I can reach out to her and see if she can help me. You know, you
Mm-hmm.
never know, who can help, who God has for you and that, to help you come out of whatever it is you're going through. So I feel like that is what Bless the Author is about. And then with the authors, I feel, it's helping you all get your story to another set of ears that may not have heard, about your book.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's like twofold, and it's helping to both the viewers and the authors.
Yes, indeed. Look, that's the one I was on, y'all. So y'all can go to her platform and watch the little couple of episodes that I've been featured on at this point. I had a chance to
Yes.
celebrate with her very recently, 3 years of doing
3 years. Yes, Bless the Author, 3 years. Queens with Ambition, 4 years. Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice. Well, look, to God be the glory for that. What was it that made you want to focus on authors in particular?
God. God, I can't. Because, okay, so I'm not I wouldn't say, at one point in time, like before I really like focused and rededicated my life to Christ, I used to sit down and I used to read those Black urban novels. Honey. Okay, so I was into that, but I kind of like lost interest in that. But I never thought about like sitting down reading all these books and interviewing people. Like, so I was talking to this young lady, and me and her still friends to this day. Her name is Minister Giselle, and so how me and her got connected was in Queens with Ambition. I was talking about this certain particular part of what David did. I don't remember exactly what it was, but then I was scrolling through my Facebook feed and I saw her and she was talking about the very same thing that I just got done talking about. So I reached out to her and we initially set it up to do like a motivation and like an inspiration live that we were going to come on together and just motivate the people. And so we and her began to talk, and then she began to tell me how she wrote a book, and I brought the book. I read it, and then the Holy Spirit just say, instead of doing this, interview her. So I said, okay, let me interview you. So as I was setting everything up, writing the questions, getting everything together, I heard, Bless the Author. And I was like, Bless the Author. I was like, okay. And at the moment, I was excited. I rolled with it. And then I really had to sit down and think about it. I was like, wait a minute. You want me to find people, buy their books, read their books, and interview them? Like, for real? Yeah, for real. For real. And so I interviewed her Facebook Live. And that was the day, September 22nd, which was yesterday. Bless the Author was born.
Oh.
And so here we are 3 years later. Me learning technology because I knew absolutely nothing about StreamYard and doing intros and outros and flyers and everything I do myself. Like my kids, they help me with some of the stuff. Like my outro, my daughter did my intro and my outro. So I got a new intro coming out when the new season come out, which my son did this one. And so I'm behind my daughter working on trying to get her to do me another outro. So yeah, we got some new things coming in for the new year.
Awesome, man. That's wonderful, man. Look, you got a ready-made team,
Yes, if I can get them to go. But see, if it was some money involved, they'll be on it.
Well, tell them, look, this is investments, this is
Absolutely. They know.
sowing seeds, right? And then
Exactly.
money come on the back
Come
end.
along later. That's right. They don't want to hear that.
Oh, Lord.
Just being honest, but they don't want to hear that. Where it's at, nah. No. I got some good kids. There's some good babies.
So how are things going with them as well? Like, are they still into the church? Are they still into, where are they at?
My son Yeah, my son loves the Lord, and
Okay.
he won't. He not cute for nobody, not even me. He be like, "Ma, I love you, but when it comes about you or God, I gotta go with God." And
Mm-hmm.
I love him for that.
Yeah.
He is God's prophet,
Mm.
and he'll tell you now, you will think like I had people, him telling me about some people that he go to church where he began to prophesy, and they was like, "Oh, I didn't know you was yeah, like it's not to go around, I'm the prophet and I'm the, hey, this is what God gifted him to do. And so he acts like a normal, he's 19 now, but he acted like a normal child. And now, even being 19, he still just act like a normal teenager. Like, but
Mm-hmm.
he will do what thus said the Lord, and he will tell you what thus
Mm-hmm.
said the Lord, whether it's good or bad. So I just try to help him as much as I can. But I
Mm-hmm.
know I used to be one of those parents that, get up, you're going to church, get up, you better pray, you better read your Bible, and God had to tell me, hey, leave them alone. There's things that I need them to go through. There are
Mm-hmm.
things that I need to happen in their lives to
Mm-hmm.
do what I need for them to do. So leave them alone. And so now when I go to church, which my son goes to a different church, and that's a whole nother, oh, because God didn't call us to go to the same church all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He's old
Mm-hmm.
enough to do what God called him to do on his own. He's old enough to know right from wrong. So he's old enough to go wherever God calls him to go. He's old enough
Mm-hmm.
to do that on his own. And now with my daughter, now that's a whole nother fight.
Okay.
That's a
All
whole
right.
nother fight.
Yeah.
She is going through some things right now. That I just gotta pray for her.
Mm-hmm.
I know God, I know that God is working on the inside of her, and I know that God is not going to allow, the enemy to take her down. But she's
Mm-hmm.
dibbling in some things that is not, good right at
Mm-hmm.
this moment. And so, when your child comes to you with things and struggling with their sexuality, it's like, what can I say? And, you don't want to beat them down with the Bible
Mm-hmm.
because they'll shut down.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I do to her is I let her be her, but I also tell her, you know, right from wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know that God is not pleased with this.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you have to continue to go to him for him to help you, through this. I'm here to pray with you. I'm here to answer the questions that you have. And if I don't have the answer, we gonna go to that Bible. We gonna
Mm-hmm.
pray on it to get the answers. But I know that it won't end like this.
Mm-hmm.
You will do what God had called. You will do what God has called you to do, and
Mm.
this won't be your end, but this will be your testimony.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
Mm.
they are good. Both of them are good kids, but they just have to go through what God needs them to go through so they can help those that is coming up behind them that God needs
Mm.
them to, speak to. So
Yes, ma'am. Well, hey, I love I just say the maturity because obviously, you're a woman. I ain't seen here like you immature or something. But I mean, I just think again, the mindset that you have in regards to your children is very good. Because it is hard when it comes to your kids because even like I said, with me and my 5-year old and whatnot, I'm over here like I want to shield them from as much as I can as possible, but at the same time, I know I can't shield them from everything.
right.
And so there's certain things where we have to, have the conversations and stuff like that. I'm sure it's going to be
Mhm.
way more as he gets older. So,
Oh yes.
and so, I get, we want to protect them and then again, with these days and times, people are getting exposing kids to all kinds of things. So, we don't know again. Well, I don't know. And if the children want to come and share their testimony, or if you want to talk more about it, I'll, feel free or whatever. But,
Hmm.
I don't know the details of, your daughter's situation, for example, or even your son, right, to be so on fire. It sounds like great testimonies to hear and
Mhm.
everything. And I know some people may feel like, oh, they're on two different roads and stuff, but not necessarily, because again, like you said, they can go through their thing. They can always come back. God is always there with open arms now, and it sounds like you're there with open arms and whatnot as well.
Absolutely.
And I think one of the narratives, again, I don't know why I keep talking about narratives on this conversation today, but here it is. There's this idea out here that, it's like, if I don't agree with you, I don't love you or something. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's not true. I can still love you and not agree with
I
you.
agree with you.
You
That's
know what I
right.
mean? I don't have to condone and let you do everything just because
Mhm.
out of quote unquote love. Like, matter of fact,
Mhm.
if I do let you do anything and everything, that's not necessarily love. Again,
No, you're
my
right.
kid would sit here and want to eat candy all day, you know what I'm saying, and never eat no food. If I allowed him to do that, is that love? You know what I'm saying? Or if
Absolutely.
I am a mother, it's my responsibility to let him know that, hey, you might have a little candy here, but you're not gonna have candy for breakfast. You're not gonna
That's
have
right.
candy. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely.
It's up to me to do that as the parent. Now, uh, again, people try to say the opposite, which I know
Uh-huh.
that's the Bible. Everything that the Bible say, people try to say the
You know,
opposite.
absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
it is what I do believe that both your children are going to be, continuing on the things that, I guess has already been established through you, and then, through what your son is doing and everything. They're probably going, again, we all fall, man. We all have sinned and fallen
Yeah,
short,
absolutely. Absolutely. That's
so
what, like, my son, like, he goes to church and he stuff, but it's still things that he has to work on. It's still things that he struggled with. It's still things that and with my daughter, like, even though she's dealing with what she's dealing with, she still reads her Bible. She still prays. She still,
mhm,
it's not that she don't know who God is, or not that she's not trying to figure out a way. What we first and foremost has to look at, she's only 13 years old.
mm,
So, she's still young. And so, the enemy starts with them when they're young,
yeah,
so it started with her when she was much younger, with some things that I caught on her phone, and I went to the pastor and we prayed about it, and she prayed over her and stuff. But I believe that you gonna go down the path that you go down, to go through the things that you have to go through. Like, it was things that I did in my life that I had to go do, had to go through in order to help those that I need to help. Now, are there
mhm,
things that we're going to do that God didn't call us to go through? Absolutely.
mhm,
Absolutely, because we hard-headed, we don't
mhm,
listen. And even if he tell us big as day, don't do that. It could be a big old neon sign say, don't go this way. We still,
mhm,
I wonder why that sign name. Let's go over there and see what's behind the sign. Let's go.
mhm. You
So,
right. You right.
it's just life, and that's just how we are. And with her, like, she know I don't agree with what she get, what she do or what she got going on, and she know I tells her, things that she don't tell me everything, because she know I don't agree with it.
Mhm,
But it's little things that she hides, and I know that she hides them, but I parent her as God lead me to parent her.
mhm,
If he not saying that, you need to be on her about this, then I let her be, because that's what he told me to do. He told me to let them be. But at the end of the day, I'm still their mother,
mhm,
but I give them back to him. And so
mhm.
I have to do what he tells me to do when it comes to them, because at the end of the day, those are his children.
Yeah.
So my son graduate high school. He about to start working at the bank on the 7th. He works now. He works at Chick-fil-A, but he was just about to get promoted to
Hmm.
management. So I don't think I'm doing that bad.
Yeah.
My daughter, she makes A's and B's. She runs track. She
Hmm.
she she played basketball. So they got their head on right, but it's still just things that they have to fight with, because what, we are chosen children of God, and their mother walks with God. So what are you going to do? I'm going to mess with her children because I know that's what's going to cause a reaction from her, because she loves her children. So, but what he failed to realize is that those are God's children before their mine. So you messing with me, baby, you messing with him.
There it is. Look, and that's that wisdom, that peace that surpasses all understanding that the word be talking about. Because again, we can be walking through these things and people don't understand. They're like, well, how can you look at it in that way? X, Y, and Z. But it's like, hey, when I give it to the Lord, that's the peace he gives me. At the end of the day, he lets me know that whose children they really are. He lets me know how I need to handle it and things of that nature. So, I mean, I believe beautiful testimonies is going to come from these things. I'm not too worried or nothing like that. I just know, again, with everything going on in these days and times, I know a lot of kids are struggling. They don't know who they are, all these different type of stuff. And, again, that's just another attack of the enemy. He's attacking our identity. The Bible says that we're made in God's image. He tried to say everything else. Again, we already talked about it. It's saying the opposite of what the Bible says.
So. Okay, exactly. And you'll see her soon. She'll be on Bless the Author because she wrote a book. Okay. She actually wrote the book when she was 11. It's just me. I'm having a little tough time with getting it published. But it's going to get published and she'll write more. This kind of discouraged her with writing. But I feel like once I get this book out, it'll lead her to write more. But yeah.
Well, you need some assistance. I know I was telling my son this the other day. I was like, it took me a while to figure out publishing and whatnot. But I joined this group and whatnot and got more information. And then next thing when I joined that and got that information, I realized I had everything I needed. And so I went forward, and that's what got me where I am today. So if I could be of any assistance, just let me know. But But yeah, man. Well, I'm excited to hear about all the great things. Who knows? She probably come right alongside you or keep Queens of ambition going. You never know what the Lord's gonna do.
Yeah.
With everything. But what do you have? I mean, I know you mentioned that you got some other things that you trying to dip your toes into and whatnot. So what else should we be looking out for?
Yeah. So I also am getting ready to, well, it's already been out there, but I'm really trying. I took a pause on it to focus more on Queens with Ambition and get that going. But I'm going to have a prayer center called Women's of Prayer, just to teach them how to pray. We know when you first begin to pray, you pray what's on your heart, you pray, but the more you grow, the more your prayer life has to grow, so just teaching them how to pray the Bible, to hit key points and just not praying amiss, or repeating what we hear other people say when they're praying, because sometimes people be praying and saying stuff you I learned that. So we know that the enemy is not in hell. He is roaming the earth, because the Bible tells us he's seeking who he's going here and there, seeking who he may devour, right? So when something attacks us, how can we say, go back to the pits of hell, which way you came from? But they're not in hell, so how can we send them back there? So, just teaching the basics of prayer and the key points on, effective prayer. Yeah, with that. And then I also have the Sister Circle, where it's going to be just like a group of women just come together just to help one another in the faith. We know iron sharpens iron. So it may be one day that you're not at your best and you don't have nobody to go to. Well, here you're in the sister circle, and so you have your sisters to come and lean on, to talk to, that get them to pray for you, to get them to pray with you, to hold you up. Like, we have to be like how they hold up high. They stood on the side of Moses and hold his arms up when he got weak, when Israel was in battle. We have to hold one another up. So that's what Sister Circle is going to be about. It's just going to be a group of ladies just there to hold one another up once times get tough, and to be there to celebrate one another when times are going good. Yeah.
Man, it sounds like a lot of great, amazing ministries coming from you, and I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear about it. Like I said, it's so needed. So sounds
Yeah.
like a right on time thing. Each and every one of these things are right on time. And
Yeah.
I just pray more blessings for you, man, that you continue to keep going and flowing and letting God to use you, man. I'm
Yeah.
excited to hear all these wonderful things. You got to definitely come back and keep us
For
updated.
sure, for sure, for sure. And I got another podcast I'm trying to do. Like, I just cannot get the right ladies to participate. It's
Mm,
called When Sisters Gather, and
okay.
so I just want to have at least one sister that we can put on this podcast and just talk about day-to-day life and the
Mm,
things that go on, and within our health, within our
mm,
ministries, within just whatever. Talk about abuse,
mm,
whatever whatever it is, that things that we don't talk about in the church that needs to be talked about you know and so so I put that on the back burner, and that's been on the back burner for a couple years now. So I done tried a different couple ladies, and it just did not work out. So I'm like, okay, God, I'm just gonna let you um guide me on this one.
Well, look, I didn't get no invitations, so but when you said that, I mean, there's been another lady was talking about a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about today about, again,
Mhm.
that gap in between and the women, and we got to do something, and all that
Right.
stuff. But then we're also talking from, as wives and whatnot as well, because that's a whole nother thing. I know I got my single content, but look, there I got things to say about marriage too, because it can get rough sometimes. But anyway, so
Right.
what I'm saying is, it sounds similar to what we were thinking about. So
Mhm.
let's see what the Lord do. All right,
Yeah,
let me
for
reach
sure.
out, because I like the name, so hey, I ain't trying to force myself in that.
No,
Feel
no,
me?
no. Look,
Yeah.
you heard me say I'm looking for somebody that's willing. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand what is about. I don't know if they feel like because it's not theirs, or because, like, when you're the co-host of something, you have to look at it like it's yours because you are the co-host. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So whatever comes out of it, you getting part of that too, because you the co-host. Like,
Yeah.
and I just don't know, like, what it was, or why it didn't work out, but
Mm.
it didn't. And I always be like, hey, whatever ideas you got, shoot them to me. Let's, it's us together. It's not just me.
Yeah.
God gave me the name and He gave me the vision, but I'm here with you to help me take the vision out. But
See, I guess maybe because the focus isn't like, or maybe their focus, right, isn't where it should be. At
mhm,
the end of the day, again, I think we both hear that, like, in just one conversation, we see that there's a great need, especially when it comes to women
yes,
and young women and stuff like that. And so, and if that's not your focus, then maybe then you're thinking about stuff like that. Me, I wouldn't even think. I'm just sitting here thinking, like, how can we get this content out? You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
and I get, we got to make money. I get all that type of stuff, and I get, oh, you need followers, but I'm like, you know what? I'm just
All of
gonna
that
be
will
obedient, and all of that's gonna come if
come.
it needs be, or if not, at least it'll be there for the next people. Because again, that's why I started my platform, because a lot of the content that's been created here, I needed to see back when I was young, girl. You know what I'm saying? Like back when I was single and trying to figure it all out and stuff. And so I know I told you about the experience we're having with the business coach right now, how he's trying to get me focused and and like, because you can make this amount of money. I'm like, maybe I can make that amount. Maybe, I'm not saying that I can't. I'm not trying to put God in no box. If that's what you want to do with me, cool. But
Right.
I need you to understand that ain't even my focus per se.
Well,
Like, I'm just trying to keep creating, what I'm saying? I'm trying to keep staying in this place where I'm at and stuff.
exactly.
And whatever else comes from that, cool. But
Right.
that's a whole nother conversation. So look, well, we'll talk. We'll talk offline
Yeah.
about it if the Lord's will. And if that's, maybe it's us three. Because like I said, it's another lady that's been on my platform. I can tell her about her. She's the author as well. So I'll definitely connect y'all and stuff. And
Yeah, for
let's
sure.
see. Yeah, let's see. Can we get it going?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Because I had different parts of it. I had one part where someone would just talk about it's like a news portion where somebody will talk about what's going on in the world today, like far as what's going on in different countries, that is connected to what the Bible is saying, and then talk about like what's going on with the election, like what people fail to realize is like this is all spiritual.
I'm trying to tell you, I've been telling the people, but go ahead.
Yeah, they don't want to listen. It's all talk. It's all coming from the Bible. It's all spiritual. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and rulers of dark places. And so everything that's taking place, it's a setup for the Antichrist to come on the scene. Look, we didn't even go get into that, but yeah. So I wanted like somebody to do a portion on the news, and then somebody to do like a motivation portion in the beginning of the show, like they come on and give a word of encouragement, give a scripture from the Bible and just expound on it a little bit, and then we go into the conversation. Yeah, so it's wow.
Well, listen, like I said, I'm here for it. Like, I'll get the connections together. I'll get us in a group when we get off the line. Or I do got to run, but at some point before the end of the day, if the Lord's will, I'll try to go ahead and get us in this group and get the conversation started. Yeah, but it sounds good. I mean, well, I don't want to be long your time, but yeah, if there's anything else you want to share with us, anything else, tell us how to get in touch with you and your different platforms, things of that nature. Feel free.
Okay, y'all. Well, if y'all want to reach out to me, y'all can follow me on Facebook at Queen Amelia, Instagram Queen Amelia, and on TikTok at Miss _Amelia. You want to follow the ministry, you can follow Queens with Ambition on Facebook, and you can follow Bless the Author on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Bless the Author.
All right, ma'am. Well, is there anything else you want to share with us before you go?
No, I just thank you for having me on the show, and that the conversation was absolutely wonderful. And for the future listeners of this show, you all just be encouraged and keep your head up. Whenever this comes out, we don't know where you're going to be at in life, but just know that if you're not in a place where you feel like you should be, just keep going and keep pressing, and God got you. Just continue to pray and allow him to lead you, and you'll get there.
Amen. Thank you so much, Queen Amelia. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching the GSL Talk Show, and thank you to Queen Amelia for joining us tonight. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and check out Miss Amelia and all of her endeavors. Have a good night.